Get the lighting all set up. Okay. That looks better. So welcome to the channel. I'm your host, EJ Parker. This is my antique shop, Vintage Classic Solutions. We're going to look at antique discoveries of the week. Things I've found, most of these things I've found this week, besides one of these things. But yeah, these are all recent discoveries. Some from out in the wild, thrift stores, antique stores, flea markets, and some from virtual markets, eBay, and the like. So if you like antiques, these are pretty much all, in my shop, vintage is 20 years to 99 years, and antique is 100 and beyond. Um, I think these are all true antiques. So there you have it. So let's we're going to talk about not just what these are, and like the value. I want to talk about also how they're made. So if you like that, you're in the right place. Because I love to learn about these things. I think it's Friday night. People might be on Tinder, swiping left or right. I'm researching Cathodian bronze works circa 1916 bookends. And I've been learning a lot, so I want to share it all with you. So let's start with man, this is difficult. I want to start with this. This is, guess what this is? This is a pipe gallery or a pipe rack, a pipe shelf. This is, what's the word? Um, Tobaccania, or I forget what the word is for collectible tobacco. I do buy and sell it in my store, on my eBay store, Vintage Classic Solutions. Humidors and lighters and pipes and pipe racks. But this caught my eye at a flea market. Check this thing out. I got this I think 2 weeks ago. It was like $10. This is in my eBay store right now. This has a ton of watchers. It's gonna sell any second. But I'm gonna guesstimate, because this is like a homemade piece. There's no maker's mark on this thing. Look at this thing. It's whimsical. It's quaint. What other adjectives can I throw at this thing? It's kind of off kilter. Look at this thing. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, EJ Parker. This is Friday Night Live, Antiques of the Week, what I've discovered. This is for sale right now. But look at this. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pipes of your choice, proudly displayed upon your wall. This may have been made by a kit, or just handmade, because you can just see now what kind of gives it away. We have that nice green paint right inside, and like the wood, you can see it's got natural patina from age. If I had to guesstimate an age on this, I might say, I don't know, geez Louise, anywhere from 1920 to 50. It's got a crest, right, in the fleur de lis, that this kind of symbol, or this design, and the crest, like a fall crest. It shows honest wear. When I got this, I thought it was a bit older, maybe like, I don't know, late 19th century, but no, it's made in Italy. Wow. Right there, made in Italy. I got to update my eBay listing. I didn't notice that. Made in Italy, right there. So there you go. But I'm going to stand by my, I don't know, I could say 1940s. It's early, mid 20th century. But it's got a great look to it. And so you got your matches, you put your matches in there or whatever. So there you go. This is for sale right now in my eBay store. It's quaint, it's whimsical. I know like probably the least about this thing, but I wanted to kind of show and tell that because it's just so cool looking. All right, up next, let's talk about this. Check this out. I just got this today. This is awesome. This thing is a feast for the eyes for just color. Look at this. This is cloisonné, that weird word. It's a French word that means cluster, which is indicates like these little clusters. If you can see here, these little clusters of brass wires with this enamel inside. That's cloisonné. So this is from China. Let me get this thing closer to the camera because it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Let me just hold it closer. So this dates from like the Qing dynasty, which ended in the I think around 1910 or so. If I had to guesstimate an age on this, I would say I don't know. This is a ginger jar. There's ginger in there. Oh yeah, I put ginger in there to see if this thing works. It does work. This is actual ginger, so this ginger jar does function as a ginger jar. I love ginger, so there, it does work. I guesstimate 1900. It's Chinese export. These are on eBay, and they go for 75, 80 bucks. Or 100 or more. I think this one can go on the higher end because it's simply so gorgeous. Look, I mean, these colors, and you can see some of the swirls in this thing. This is spectacular. This has the Fu dragon up top, which is a good luck symbol. I lived in China for 11 years. I saw things like this, and yes, Chinese exports are collected within China. Chinese exports are things that are designed for American tourists or to sell to the West. This I believe to be one of those. There's no maker's mark on the base. That gorgeous blue base, it's unmarked, which is usually the case. Sometimes it could be like embossed China or like stamped in China, made in China, or even a sticker. So I'm guesstimating again 1900. Let's talk how this is made. So this is brass, okay? Again, it's called cloisonné, and if I can explain this in the most simple terms, so this is a brass. Imagine like just a brass vase. This is like, imagine all this gorgeous color's gone. A naked brass vase, and then an artisan gets wire and intricately lays all these patterns of leaves and floral designs, and these intricate designs of wire, and then they get enamel. And enamel is basically powderized colored glass. So it's powdered colored glass that they fill in to these little crevices. And then they fire it in a kiln, which melts the glass and forms these colors that bond to the body of the brass vase. If that hopefully makes sense. So it's powdered glass. I forget the word. There's a word for that that begins with a V. Powdered glass within these crevices, fired at a high temperature, and that process is repeated until it fills these little, crevices completely, and then the artisan sands it to make it smooth. And this is one of the nicer ones because I see these. I'm out in the wild a lot. I buy and sell these things. This one I'm probably going to keep, I hate to say, because it's just so pretty. Hey, everybody. And I think I showed this off today in a YouTube short, and someone said, well, how do you date these things? Good question. So basically, I go by age, and I have to use my eye. So what is age? So dust. Honest wear on the base, scuffing in multiple directions. This one's got a couple dings in it. The interior, there's a few, like, some dings. So it does, it's been used. It's made of brass, so I do see, there is some tarnishing on the rim from age. These are mysterious, the cloisonné. I have other pieces in my eBay store for sale, and they could be 1900, they could be 1930, they could be, I don't know, 1945, or they could be, 1899. You really gotta, in my opinion, pay attention to the patina and the age factors. This one's got a lot of dust towards the top. Also, within these, if you can see this, within, it's kind of hard to pick up, these clusters, you can see tiny little, where's, find a good example. Like right around here, there's like little divots. You can see that's indicative of an older piece in the firing process, whereas a more modern piece might just be completely smooth and lack those maker imperfections. Maker imperfections can give away or help us decipher age. Being the more maker imperfections a piece has, the earlier it may be made. This has like that blue interior with the authentic piece of ginger, and again that food dragon on top. So what's this thing worth? I don't know. I think I bought it for around $30. It could be worth 75. It could be worth. This is a nicer one. If this was an average one, it would be worth 75. This one caught my eye, and it kept drawing me to it. I'm like, I'm buying it, and I'm probably keeping it because these colors. I mean, you can see how they swirl and they mesh. Man, it's so pretty. Where I've seen other very similar vases, with much cruder colors. So this one I'm gonna keep. Sorry, folks. This one's gonna stay in the collection. It's just too nice. Because I'm a generalist, I have to pay the bills and feed my family. But I have to have examples for my collection, for YouTube to share with the world, and for my own reference to compare authentic pieces with potential inauthentic pieces. So that's that. Circa 1900 ginger jar. These were used for ginger, tea, spices. Doesn't have any particular scent, but that's pretty. All right, so let's move on to the next piece. I just found these literally, I don't know, an hour and a half ago. These are awesome. These are going to be for sale on my eBay store, Vintage Classic Solution. Links in the bio. I hate saying that, but I gotta pay the bills. These are sweet and they're pretty valuable. Found these at a thrift store. What are they? These are bookends, bronze. This is a score. That's the Goodwill. How much did I pay? Let's see, EJ, how much? $3.80 each. And I was happy to pay that because these are awesome. We have here a maker's mark. Yay! What does it say? KBW. That stands for Cathodian Bronze Works. So these are circa 1916. And again, it's Friday night, right? I'm a single guy. People are, they're going out. They're on the internet trying to find a date. I am researching Cathodian bronze work, Art Nouveau bookends, because someone's got to do that, right? And that's me, EJ Parker, your host. So back to these things. So these are amazing. Now they're not solid bronze. These are, inside there's either resin or something else. It could be wood, but it's not solid bronze, because then they'd be like really expensive. So these are, what they're worth now is around $300 as a pair, and the exterior is bronze. I mean, I just love bronze. Bronze is so freaking awesome. You can see why artists love it, and the way it ages. So what is bronze? Bronze is 90% copper and 10% tin. Whereas brass is 90% copper and 10%. Oh, what the hell is it? Well, let's just focus on bronze. So bronze is 90% copper and 10% tin. And as that metal ages, it gets this awesome kind of like, that like black, olive, green, gray, right there. Yeah, patina. That's real bronze. So it's just they had this company has some kind of a process where they would have like a resin core and they could coat it in real bronze. And I mean, this is heavy, not as heavy as a solid bronze piece, but this, I mean, they're bookends, right? So they do the job. These are called, I think, the Strongmen, circa 1916. My house was built in 1915, so I love finding pieces that could have been in my house when it was built. Um, this company, Cathodian Bronze Works, right there, makes some awesome pieces. And I was arguing with AI before I went live, which I like to do. And AI makes mistakes, folks. Don't trust AI. You can use it for what it's good for, which is the mundane stuff and some research, but do your research on your own because AI can totally screw things up. And now YouTube is polluted with like AI narrated voices with British accents, and it sounds like it's legit information. But today I was like listening. It was like an Antiques Roadshow redo where someone made an Antiques Roadshow or took Antiques Roadshow and then made a video like where they would feature these items on the Antiques Roadshow and then have this AI narrative voice talk about the item in more detail. Okay, well, I'm like, oh wow, this is great. I love like close-ups and zoom-ins of the history and all that stuff. But I did my research on top of that, and it was wrong. AI, it was like it was talking about Camargue, which is an American company based out of Arkansas. It was saying it was based out of France and blah 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 blah. It was completely wrong. So shame on them. Um, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I do my research as best of my ability. So back to these things. So these were 1916, arguing with AI about the style. I say these are Art Nouveau. AI is saying these are late Victorian, realist at the cusp of Art Deco. I don't know, because AI wants to skip Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau, folks, celebrates nature in the human form. So give me a break. Art Deco celebrates angles and design. In Victorian realism, okay, well, this is realism. Yeah, I can give it that. So I would say this is like Victorian realism meeting Art Nouveau. So I don't trust AI in that. That's a little side lesson for tonight, folks. Don't trust AI. Take it with a grain of salt. Use it, but use it wisely. So these are bronze coated. Pardon me. There's no date, but my research shows me that, and there could be something right there. This lighting is. I found these in the. I was in the car. It's like dark. It's like nighttime. I'm trying to research these in the car. I see something else here. Some other initials. And also, what's indicative of an older piece is this felt base. I've done a few YouTube episodes where the older the item, the more barf colored this felt will be. This is like a barf colored felt. I mean, look at this, like brown. It's like someone ate like, I don't know, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and like split piece soup and then yorked it up. But that's how you decipher older pieces. A newer piece would have like black or like a more modern green, kind of like this, right? There's also pieces of felt where it's like just really nasty brown, which is early 20th century. That's just like a side note. The more like nasty the felt is color, like brownish, greenish, weirdish, the older the piece is, from what I've seen. So these are again worth around $300, which is great. I'm gonna sell these in my eBay store after, I research them a bit more. Even though they look good in the house, I got books. I got old books. I had a short episode of Bibliomania back in 2024, it was tragically expensive, but I got some great books, and they would look damn good in between these two strong men. But I got to pay the bills. You know what I mean? So moving along, and again, we're live. I'm your host, EJ Parker, in my vintage and antique store, Vintage Classic Solutions. My hot cup of coffee. It's cold out again here in Northeast Ohio. All right, so look at this thing. This has been getting a lot of attention on, I can't forget this. I have another item. This has been getting a lot of attention on Instagram and YouTube. This is an American piece of pottery from the 1920s or 30s. I'm guessing 20s. This is called Ozark Roadside Tourist Pottery. I love the name. Ozark Roadside Tourist Pottery. It's also known as Mission Pottery or like Ozark Pottery or Roadside Pottery. But this is what it looks like. I got this example on eBay because I can't find it in the wild. In my neck of the woods in Ohio, I just haven't found this in an antique store or a thrift store, so I had to go ahead and buy a piece on eBay, which I was happy to do. I've been looking at these for a couple of years, so it wasn't like a impulse thing. I've been looking at these for a hot minute just to have an example. I love the swirl color. There's a big story behind this, which I'm going to share with you right now. So this is like folk art meets early 20th century entrepreneurial spirits meets roadside knick-knack meets pottery. This is a great intersection of stuff if you're like me. So these are highly collectible. This costs $100 on eBay, and they can go for a lot more. The bigger pots can go for hundreds, $200, $300, $400 or more. So what these are, a gentleman in the 1920s by the name of Harold Horine was like a cantankerous person and worked in home construction and came up with a method and a way to make pottery out of cement without spinning it. This is not spun. This is made in a mold. And then he developed a way to make a paint coating look like this awesome swirl, as you can see. And then this guy patented this method and then sold the method to people along the early, highways within the USA that wanted to sell roadside knickknacks to tourists along the way. So this guy, Harold, for $500 would come to your house and teach you his patented method to make this pottery. And then once you learned it, you could just make these as you wished and sell them to tourists and, whatever. And this guy Harold had an actual name for this pottery. It was like Camo pottery or something like that. He had an actual name for it. But nowadays it's known as Ozark Roadside Tourist Pottery, which is it's got to be a song. I got to write a song about that. So stay tuned for my song called Ozark Roadside Tourist Pottery. Because that's going to be coming out soon. Anyhow, so back to this. So this is made of cement and sand, like a sand and cement mixture, right? Within a mold. It's not spun like in a traditional pottery sense. And then this is not clay, this swirl. There are some clay companies or pot companies that make pottery that's made of clay that has a natural swirl, but this is not that. If this was naked, it would be a piece of like gray cement. Nothing too amazing. But Harold said, no, we're giving our people more. So he devised this way. It's called, I think now it's done a lot too. It's like called hydro painting or hydro dipping, where you have a bucket of water, and then you pour oil paint over the top, different colors of oil paint, and you. Now this is what I'm not, because you submerge the object and the paint sticks to it. But I was thinking, well, wouldn't it work better if the object was already underwater, right? And then you pulled it out, and then the paint would stick to it on the way out. I don't know. I've never done that before. Now I can't wait for the spring because I want to try this. I want to start dipping things in oil paint water, hydro dipping anything. I'll hydro dip my car. I mean, but just to get this amazing effect. I mean, look at this. So it was really up to your paint collection of colors and your imagination to get these designs. This person was awesome because they have, look at, we have, okay, our white, we got blue, like a sky blue, we got like a pea green, kind of like, back to the white, the blue, and then up here, my favorite color, orange, and then they got like it's kind of like I don't know, like a grayish purple towards the rim, and then back to, it's just awesome. And the inside, you can kind of see what it would look like before the dip, right? And so this is all cold. So this is another important side note. So you could do this at home because it didn't require a kiln. I think it's called cold painting and cold firing, I think it's called. Because this was cement with like cement and sand within a mold, and then it would just air dry, right? And then once it was dry, you would dip it in the paint water solution to get the swirl, and then you would just let that dry, air dry, and then it's done. So there's no heating process, which is nice because kilns aren't cheap, and even to make one, like a pain in the ass, you gotta like, though I want to do it, you gotta build it and feed the fire and get the right kind of wood and all that stuff and regulate the temperature. Otherwise, you lose the pottery, it breaks, whatever. So this guy Harold was onto something, right? It was a cold process. There's no heat involved, so that's good. And the result is this. And this is like I don't know, like a. Now the sizes again can vary. The larger ones can go for hundreds more. Um, we always learn a lot about pottery from the foot, the base right here, and this is unmarked. These are unmarked. I've yet to seen a piece of Ozark roadside tourist pottery with a maker's mark. You can kind of see the bare cement there more so. So the maker's unknown, unfortunately. Uh, I would love to find one in the wild, but I don't know. I don't know. I think I'd probably find one of these like in an antique mall. You know what I mean? For like $8, and then I'd take it home and show YouTube. So that's that. This is Ozark roadside tourist pottery. Oh yeah, and like another thing is, so supposedly these can't get wet because it's like porous cement with oil paint over it. So if these were to get wet, apparently like the water would just kind of push the paint away. Pardon me. So this stays in the house. So there is that Ozark roadside tourist pottery. And thanks for joining. We have another item here. I'm your host, EJ Parker. We are live. Antiques of the Week. Now this is awesome. I featured this. I love religious and faith objects and statuary. This is a great crucifix, and this is mysterious because it's unmarked. There's no maker's mark. I have a few theories, and if you do have any theories, chime in. Look at this thing. This is gorgeous. So this is a crucifix of the risen Christ, right? Christ is risen, glorious Christ with the halo, outstretched arms, similar to the Brazilian Christ, the Redeemer statue. I love, he looks kind of like the thin face. There's certain sculptures of Christ, Jesus Christ, where he's got this kind of gaunt face that is quite emotional. This is made of a mixture of sawdust and glue. which kind of helps us date this thing because there's no maker's mark on this, and there's no country of origin to be found. I don't see it anywhere. It's a sawdust and glue composition. On eBay, these things of this material are called, like in the listings, like composite or compo, and they can be statues, they can be like match holders, they can be religious items, because it was just another material to use that wasn't as breakable, though this one is broken and repaired by yours truly. Um, this material was like, from my research, used like in the like 20s, 30s, and 40s. And then you kind of switch into a more of a plastic resin. Where this, if you can kind of see this up close, it. I mean, it looks like sand, sawdust, and glue. More of an organic material as opposed to like a plastic-based resin, which, like a lot of, do I even have one? I think I have one right here. I do. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I can not break. Oh, sorry. Sorry for the swearing, folks. Dropping antiques, primitive antiques. Dropping primitive antiques on mid-century antiques, vintage items. Okay, so this is like a plastic resin, very similar. This is more of a mid-century risen Christ. This could be 1950. This could be 1958. This could be 1960. It could be 1965. Because somewhere in that wheelhouse. It's made of a plastic resin, the risen Christ. Now, this looks mid-century to me. Now, but this, I want to say mid-century, but this has more of an Art Deco look. This, I want to say like 1930s, early 40s on this crucifix. At first, because that's what caught my eye. Because usually, unless it's a very exceptional piece, I'll skip over mid-century pieces. Now, I like this one. Some of the mid-century religious artifacts can, I don't know, they're just kind of a bit bland. I like to be inspired, no matter what the faith. I'm agnostic. I love religious symbolism, hence all my tattoos of crosses and stuff, and all these artifacts around me. They help me like inspire myself, and I want to believe, but who knows? But this has, at first I thought like a mid-century vibe, like 1955. But upon closer look, I mean, this could be like an Art Deco. Art Deco is design and lines, and if you see up close, there's wear here, like as if someone was kissing the feet almost, right? Because this is painted gold, and the true color is this brownish, almost like a wood color, right? You see that? That was another interesting detail. When I bought this, it was broken, and I glued it. But you can see, the wear here. I'm reading the comments here. Just saw an old video of you of a Garrett rubber car. Yep. Have you ever seen the peanut car in honor of Jimmy Carter? Yes, I have. I have seen the Jimmy Carter peanut car. That's a funny thing. And I was just looking at my Garrett car, by the way. And thanks for that comment, Rude Roo. I was just admiring my yellow convertible lobster, ridiculous, absurdist rubber toy car by Garrett. And that's a great toy. I wish I had it with me. That's upstairs. I don't have it. I'm an absurdist, so I'm an agnostic absurdist. And when I discovered, I love rubber toys, vintage rubber toys. So Garrett is the cross section for me of vintage rubber toys and absurdism. So I'm like, oh my God, it's like a home run, right? And those are hard to come by. I mean, you don't find those at a garage sale. You don't find those at Goodwill. I had to go ahead and buy one on eBay because I do collect vintage rubber toy cars. And I have Sun Rubber and Auburn Rubber and a few Rainbow Rubber. But the Garrett ones, yeah, those are cool. The Peanut one, the Jimmy Carter one is funny. I want some more of those. Um, just found one still in the packaging. That's awesome. That, yeah, I have an actual, and I think I've featured it on my channel. I have a vintage rubber toy car vehicle book, and I'm almost sure that I've like gone through it page by page in a talk through on this channel. And it talks about Garrett and the guy behind it, and he developed some ideas. And I think he used to work for Auburn Rubber, he used to work for one of the big companies. It wasn't Sun. I think it was Auburn Rubber, and then he branched off to do his own thing, if I'm correct. But yeah, if you like that stuff like I do, there's a book about it that I cover on this channel. Yeah, he worked for Auburn. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Um, yeah, the Garrett, I mean, it's just so zany. Um, those concepts. And there's other ones that I want to get. Um, I forget what else? I had to get the lobster car. Oh man, there's some Brazilian and Argentinian rubber toy cars that are really nice, and they're expensive and they're rare, and they look kind of like realistic. Um, I forget the company's name, and they're not cheap. And I never even seen one in real life. I only seen them in this book, and they're remarkable. The detail, and they're all rubber, but I forget the name. I'll have to go through the book again and dig that name out. But yeah, check out that my show on that book, because that's like obscure knowledge, and I love obscure knowledge. So you're in the right place. Um, Auburn closed. He made like 18 different toy cars. Yeah, yeah. He made a series of all these zany vehicles, um, and that would be a nice thing to have, all like a complete set of Garrett rubber toy cars, and that could be affordable. I mean, it's not like they're unrealistic, or there's one key car that's super expensive. They're all, I don't know. I forget how much I paid for mine. You know, 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks, and if you got one in the packaging, that's great. But those are really cool. Garrett. After this, I'm going to hop on eBay and check out some more Garrett, Garrett vehicles. Because those are cool. But yeah, so this is, that back to this. This is a curious detail. This wear. I believe someone was, kissing in honor of Christ in the feet or in prayer. But the curious thing also is these two on both sides. Like, this has been held, like in a ceremony or worship, because that's honest wear on both sides. So I don't know how this was used in the past. I found this at an antique store. It was, I think, $8, and it was broken, and I still bought it. And I went home and I fixed it immediately. And it's still a mystery because I have no idea who made it, and I have no idea where it's made. It could be Italian, or it could be a piece made in the USA, in Chicago. And I haven't found any online. I found a similar piece, but it wasn't made of this composite material, and I think it was attached to like a larger cross. So this is like a mysterious piece. I'm gonna keep this. It's in my house already on the wall. I'm not gonna sell this. I'm still like trying to figure out who made this. But if I had to make a guess, I would say this is made in Chicago in 1942. And it was in someone's house. I don't think it was in a church. It was someone's house, and they would pray to this, and it was held a lot, enough to show honest wear. And that's all I know about it. What's this worth? I'm not gonna sell it, but I don't know. I mean, this is special. I would say maybe, I don't know. I could ask $75 for this in this condition. Um, if this was brass, this would be, 500 bucks maybe or more. Um, so I don't know. This is a mysterious risen Christ crucifix made of composite. So that's that. Do I have any honorable mentions? A lot of this stuff is old to me but new to you. I have to kind of remind myself, like, oh, this stuff, all right, fine. We do a little gross out culture. So I had one of these as a kid. Oh, I gotta like shift my brain now. These are breath blasters. Yes. These are like deemed. There was some like democratic organization that wanted these pulled off the shelf. I think they said these are like toxic. These were pulled off the shelf because they're toxic. Because okay, so if you don't know, these are made of rubber, and you would squeeze these, and they would stink. You'd be like, oh. I had these as a kid, like in 1984 or whatever, 1980. 86, made by Axel, AXLO. 1986, proudly made in the USA. This is like the angry, hungover mom. I love this. Look at that. Bloodshot eyes. Get up! Blah! And you'd squeeze this in your younger sibling's face, and it would stink. There was some chemical within that would be like, oh, stink. And mine was, I had the guy with the spiky hair. He looked he was like a zombie with like a spiky hair, and it stunk, like a dead cat. It really did stink. Um, and it was probably thrown away. I found this one on eBay. I got this one for a good deal. I think it was like 30 bucks. They're worth more than that though, because there's folklore about them being toxic or whatever. I think they were never officially deemed toxic. That was more of a folklore thing. I think that Democratic Society for whatever indecent toys, that was legit. I found an article about that. So that's an honorable mention. Another honorable mention for gross out culture. Um, this is a genuine mad ball. I actually had the same exact mad ball as a kid. Excuse me. This is right in the wheelhouse of gross out culture. Mid 1980s, made in Taiwan. Solid foam. It's gotten stiffer with age, but it's still kind of pliable. This one I had to pay a little bit more. Because this is the one I had as a kid. Not the actual one, but the same guy. I forget his name. Ugg or something like that. And of course he's the most expensive one. But I love this blue color and just that face. It's like the quintessential gross out toy. If you had to pick one toy or one object, like Garbage Pail Kid, My Pet Monster, all that stuff, what would be the one like quintessential, iconic, gross out item? And this could be it, because this has been ripped off and knocked off so hardcore, for so long. It's still knocked off. That ugh face zombie, you know what I mean? I think this is like 40, 50 bucks when I bought it. It's worth more than that because he's like the most iconic one. And there's no cracking really on the paint. Like sometimes they're all cracked, the paint from age and being in the garage. It's pretty good. So there's that. I hope you've enjoyed this look through of antiques of the week. I'm going to be going live a lot more because I have a lot to share. I haven't gone live in a long time. So I have like a buildup of just things around me. There's caving in that I must share with you before they engulf me and I disappear within antiques. But I would gladly die within a cocoon of antiques. If I had to pick one way to die, being encased in a cascading avalanche of antiques would be my probably way to go. So there you have it. My name is EJ Parker. We are live, Vintage Classic Solutions. Thanks for checking in, and have a great night.